the reason that this is the topic that we're talking about is this has been coming up a lot for clients that I've been working with, for myself, with some transitions that I'm currently going through. And it's to act as that reminder that so often we can be influenced by our childhood and not even have an awareness of it. There could be, moments where you're feeling activated or charged and just all fired up in a current situation, but it might not have anything to do with you in this now moment with that situation. And it's that little one, that inner child within you that is, acting out from a different place and space and time. And even if there were unmet needs that you had as a child, it's like they can come to the forefront for yourself. And the theme that I've been seeing, and I'll say it for myself, I'll raise my hand, and clients were based around love and relationships where, you're seeking. So could we even just say the love that you're seeking is not going to come from the world? I just have to emphasize that. The love that you are seeking or that you are yearning for is not going to come from the world. That love is going to come from God, source, divine. It's not going to come from the world. So if you are seeking it in the world, you might be faced with disappointment. If that's what you're seeking first, if you're seeking it to have it in another person, if you're seeking to have it in your career, if you're, everything outside of yourself and that relationship to God, you will be faced with disappointment. However, there's aspects when that happens, when there is that seeking and that searching and, having that validation or really needing that validation, where it could be those unmet needs from childhood, right? So often I see this where, these stories or beliefs, once again, this could be subconscious programming, but stories and beliefs of not being good enough, or you have to prove your value and your worth by doing X, Y, and Z. Like, you have to do all of these things and then you'll be enough. You have to do all of these things and then you'll be loved. And that just is a never ending being down a dark hole, like this never ending hole trying to get that validation and approval from other people. And it might not have anything to do with you. Oh my gosh. It gets internalized. If somebody's not returning the love that you're giving, or somebody's not, able to meet you where you want to meet them, and could we also say people are only going to be able to meet you where they can meet themselves, where they have met themselves, where they're willing to meet themselves. However, that doesn't have anything to do with you. And it can be so easy to get caught up or wrapped up in the mind and like projecting the past experiences into the now of once again, like needing to do all of these things to be lovable, needing to do all of these things to be worthy, needing to do all of these things to be enough. And you are enough, period. Period. We are, children of the divine. We've got this divine aspect within us, this divine spark within us. And no matter what you have experienced from the world, this is why I'm saying like that the world is not going to give you that love. It's just like, it's not, you can have it in moments and through people, but like really seek God, source, divine first, if I had to stress anything with that. So part of the reclaiming the child or the inner child is becoming aware of these patterns or behaviors that you have, or these, these cycles that you're finding yourself in. Because I've had many clients where they're once again looking for, their person, looking for the love, looking for that sacred union, but it's coming from a place of that's seeking. I don't want to say desperately seeking, but it's like a seeking and a yearning. But because that first step with, filling yourself up beyond the external world and going within and connecting to God, source divine. So there's a feeling of lack. You've got this feeling of lack, and then you're out in the world, perhaps even attracting that. Or if you've got beliefs, so this is another thing to be aware of too. Beliefs can really dictate how you show up in the world, what you do or what you don't do, and that could stem from childhood. So let's say you grew up in a family, we'll switch gears from love, but we'll, like the common themes, love, finances. Let's say you've come from a family and you grew up just being told you have to work really hard for money. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't flow freely to you. You got to work, hard your whole life. But what if that's not your story? And what if that's not your reality? What if you're actually, coming to shift that for the lineage, but you still have that programming of you have to work hard, things don't come easy, and that's just the stories, and it's like being fed on a loop within you and within your life. But when you start to realize that you don't have to accept what has been placed upon you, that's when you allow yourself to be open to being in that receptivity of divine alignment, we could say divine alignment, like the receptivity of the divine, where you're not limited by your past, where you're not limited by your family, where you're not limited by anything but yourself. So when we reclaim the inner child, it's taking a bit more of an inventory of yourself, your behaviors. If you catch yourself being reactive, where is that coming from? And I speak about this book all the time. It's called The Presence Process by Michael Brown. And I read it for the first time in February of 2024. And I'm not joking. I had that book on my shelf for about 6 to 7 years, like just, but everything's timing, right? Like at the time, I had the book, but just, intentions. It wasn't the time. And so February of 2024, I started reading that book, and it was a game changer. And so much of the presence process is acknowledging if you get charged, triggers. I don't fully like that word, but if you've got triggers that come up or charges that come up for you, to step outside of the situation and to acknowledge that more often when we get charged or we get activated, or like you get real fiery about situations, it has nothing to do with you in this now moment, and it has nothing to do, like, oh my goodness, it has nothing to do with the situation that's going on. More often than not, it is little you being activated from another time. So if you could go into, let's say you're feeling angry, something happens and you're feeling angry, you could even stop. See, this is where awareness comes. Nothing can change unless there's awareness. You can't shift these patterns unless you become aware. But taking that time to stop and realize, oh, okay, so you're angry, and not even going into, the depths of the anger, but being curious about where that anger started. Where did you last feel that kind of anger? Like, where did that take root? Because if we're looking at it from the inner child, right, it might not have anything to do with the situation or even that person. The beautiful takeaway that I got from that book as well is it's never about the messengers. It's always about the message. So if somebody comes into your life, you get angry, it's not even about them. What are you learning from that anger? When did that anger take root? And how can you have compassion and be gentle with yourself, be kind with yourself, and love that inner child for the anger that they felt that maybe they didn't actually get to feel, or that anger that they felt that they didn't get to speak about? Like, there's so, gosh, can we say parents or guardians and us in general are doing the best that we can in any given moment with what you have, what you know. And You could have the best parents or the best childhood, but it still doesn't mean that you weren't impacted in ways that could have, caused these subconscious, what do I want to call it, like subconscious ideations of not being enough or needing to be a certain way. Like a perfect example is, let's say, it's little you're a little kid, and you go to talk to one of your guardians, one of your caretakers, and they were really short with you. Like they just were like very short, felt rude, felt abrupt, and then little internalizes. And you think, oh my gosh, what did you do in that moment? What did you say? What did you not? Like running it over and over in your mind as a child. But what if that guardian had a stressful day? What if they were going through a hard time and it wasn't even directed at you, but that's just where they were at in that moment? But then you are now walking through the world with, it's like a little dagger to the heart of, wow, they were so short and abrupt and rude with me. I wonder what I did. It's just like that natural default, and the innocence of children too, like of if the guardian for them is being unkind, could assume to be internalized as you, but it's not you. And then you're walking through your adult life as well, internalizing everything that happens and trying to understand why people do what they do when it might not have anything to do with you. And as I'm saying this, I'm listening. Oh my gosh. Trying to understand away people's behaviors, or wondering if there was something you said, if there was something you did. But if someone is not happy within their life or within themselves, you can't be anybody's happiness. I need to repeat this. You can't be responsible for somebody's happiness. You can't be responsible, for people being okay. And that's tricky when you have now attached your worth and your value to someone's happiness, or your worth and your value to someone being okay. Like, hi, reformed people pleasers, or current people pleasers. Hi, we see you talking to you. That is nobody else's responsibility than that person. Just like your happiness is your responsibility. And where we were talking at the very beginning, like outsourcing, seeking desperately to like find the love, like it's not out there. You can find it out there, but it all starts with you, boo. And some folks are real scared about going within. Some folks don't want to be alone, so they don't want to spend time with themselves. They don't want to do the inner reflection or deal with, I said this already, but even for you, people are only going to be able to meet you in the depth that you allow them to as well. So to reclaim the inner child, like the first step is awareness. I feel like awareness is the key for any sort of change, transformation. Awareness is the catalyst for any of that. So to really become more aware, or intentionally start to look at the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling, how you react to certain situations, where you might see patterns showing up for yourself in whether it's relationships or even with yourself. What are the thoughts that you're having with yourself? What are the feelings that you have towards yourself? Like, what are, like, do you have toxic behaviors or unhealthy, not supportive behaviors or habits as well? And be curious and look at that. And then when you look at that, it's like, okay, so what did little me need, right? If you're hurting, what did little you need that they didn't get? What are those unmet needs that you did not get growing up, and now you're trying to fill it with something else as an adult? So you could even, and this is part of a reparenting exercise, but you could write a letter from your inner child. So just let them freely speak and share, all of the things that they wanted and that they needed growing up that they didn't get. Maybe it was safety, maybe it was feeling seen, feeling heard, feeling loved. Like, whatever that is for your inner child. So just to allow that. So I would recommend even just taking a couple breaths, bringing your focus and attention into the heart space. So you're coming from, like the purity of the heart, and writing that out. And then to build upon that, it's almost like a response, a letter from you as an adult now, right? Because that's where we have that sovereignty of not completely allowing our past to dictate our future, and knowing that, okay, so there's a hurt little child that still has unmet needs that are expressing themselves through you as an adult, but now you're the adult, so you're the responsible one, you're the parent essentially. So you could even write a letter, to say, this is how I'm going to show up for us. And I want to say to us, it's like the inner child is an aspect of you, but at the same time they are you, and it really is a partnership and teamwork. So yeah, you could write the letter from your inner child expressing what they wanted, what they need, maybe what like needed, and what they need. Like, what do they need now? Maybe you're working too much. And yes, you have to pay bills, but they might want to play and you're being too serious, and you gotta work because you have the beliefs of you gotta work hard to make money. You see where I'm going? Like, it's just all of these loops. Even asking what they need now. Maybe they want a walk in nature every week. Maybe they want a day where they sleep in. It's ask and you shall receive. So getting them to express what they need now. And then as the adult, the responsible adult in their life, and I'm chuckling because, some of y'all are big kids, I see you, but the responsible adult in their life. And then now, how are you going to show up? How are you going to come step to the plate and say, you know what, we didn't get this growing up, but like, I'm here to rectify this. I'm here, and following through. We don't need to be breaking more promises to that little child, okay? We need we don't need to be breaking any more promises. The past is built on tears and broken promises, as I'm sure life is as well, in different ways. So follow through is very, very important. So start small, okay? But start. That's part of the path of reclaiming the inner child. And it doesn't have to be daunting work. So often, soul work or self-development, like, it can feel overwhelming. It can. And sometimes it can feel daunting depending on where you're going, but you can make it fun as well. So many people avoid inner work, self-development, because they're going to have to look at things and change is going to have to happen. But when you actually are willing to do the work and allow yourself to just feel, it's that expression, feel to heal. When you let yourself do that, your life will change and you will change, but you'll be better for it. You will be better for it in so many different ways, and your life will be a reflection of that too. So you're worth it, and you don't have to do a lot of strenuous things of that, but it's that desire in the heart, and the commitment and the follow through. Lots of love. Mwah. Thank you for listening to today's episode. And before you go, I wanted to offer you an opportunity for reflection and contemplation. Was there anything in this episode that inspired you or that you can use in your life moving forward? If so, what was it? Was there something about this episode that made you feel uncomfortable? We could use that word triggered, charged. Was there anything that was brought up in this episode that really had you feeling seen or understood? You can take a moment to bring these reflections into the sacred space of the heart or journal, and I would love to hear your thoughts and your reflections, how this episode impacted you. You can send me a DM on social media, and of course, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, share with a friend. I appreciate you. Lots of love. Mwah.